Deck or Hayes et al. But, I mean, there had to be a spark somewhere along the way that ignited that team. What was that?
Well, I just think it started right away with preseason conditioning, with the running of the hill. You could just see how dedicated these guys were to getting it done, to advancing even further than what the 14 team did.
Right.
And, it just all came into play as a result of everybody sticking together.
Yeah. Was there some? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
They were connected to one another. I know that sometimes those terms are used way too often, culture and all those kind of terms. But this was definitely a process that helped. Obviously, having the other good seasons before that and the players before them setting the tone. And this group just happened to take it a little further.
All the coaches I've ever
think that
sorry.
17 could have gone further if you ask Brian.
Yeah.
Right, Brian, if you'd have stayed healthy.
We were pretty good. We were pretty good. I don't know if we had everything that this 14 team and 15 team did, but we were pretty good. I would have liked to see what would have happened had my elbow not dropped as low as it did, but it didn't. That's what makes sports great too.
So, Coach, every basketball coach I've met and worked with has blown me away with their ability to recall possession by possession games at times. And I'm curious if there's a single possession in that Duke game for the title that still sticks in your mind as a possession that could have gone differently.
Well, I let fans discuss that. As a coach, number one, you get into the locker room after losing the national championship game, and you still got 15 guys sitting in front of you that you need to bring off the cliff, so to speak, talk down, like get them to understand that, there are disappointments in life, but there's also those exhilarating moments. And I told the guys, you've had an unbelievable year. People will never forget what you guys have done. So I never second guess that way. I never have, especially when you've coached as many games over the years, junior high, high school, and Division III, and all those levels. You need to pick your team up first of all. So I never obsessed about one bad call or two bad calls, or I always kidded with officials when I would point to a cell phone that was on the scorer's table, and I said, I think that phone is yours, to the ref. And the ref would look at me like, well, what are you talking about? I says, yeah, I looked at that phone and it said 10 missed calls. And it's got to be yours. So anyhow, I would have some fun with the officials.
Did they go along with that, or were there any refs that were like, yeah, not funny?
The looks that I would get, most of the guys knew it was just to loosen them up. That's what I was trying to do.
Coach, I want to talk about the 14 team. Obviously, when you look at the first Final Four that they got there, you had some special help that run. Obviously, you had great players, but that was the first one that your dad wasn't around for, and he'd been to every Final Four. What did that mean? I remember texting you. I was playing in the Philippines. I said, Coach, congratulations. I think you might have had some help on this one, and he's looking down on you.
Yeah, I remember.
Yep. Yeah, I remember texting you that, thinking I'm a firm believer and stuff happens that way all the time. Walk me through that moment of the first Final Four with this 14 team.
Well, as you mentioned, for 36 straight years, I think it was, my dad and I had attended the Final Four because it's our convention, the coaches' convention. So, and he would always say, one of these days, boy, you're gonna have your team here. You better get ready. You better check out the atmosphere. Get your game plan together on how you're going to handle the meals and sleep and practice. And things like that. So I would always go, okay, Dad, okay. And then he passed away in early September of 13, and obviously the 14 team. When the final buzzer sounded, I was pretty emotional. It was when I was interviewed coming off the court. It was hard for me to answer the reporter's question without breaking down a little bit. So it was, first of all, it's, these young men, all they've been through, they get a chance for another 40 minutes. And I had to keep that in mind with the players, knowing, okay, this is one step. Now we got to get ready for next. So we enjoyed it, but we also knew we had a lot of work to do.
Tonight, obviously, we're talking and honoring the Final Four teams, but during halftime, your name will go up in the rafters. What does that mean to you?
Well, as I told a guy the other day, I think they discovered a couple holes in the wall up there in the rafters, and they needed something to cover it up. So they're doing a banner. They happen to put my name on it, I guess. What does it mean? It just means all the players, all the coaches, all the fans, all the trips, the wins, the losses, the whole shebang just flashes right in front of your eyes. And our whole family will be there, other than Matt. He's in California, and he gives private lessons, and weekends mean a lot of money for him. So he's not going to make it. But all the grandkids and our other 4 children will be there. Obviously, Kelly will, and it'll be pretty sweet. And then they hand me the mic. They said, "Hey, Coach, you got a minute and a half."
Yeah, a minute and a half.
Well, they're giving you the shot clock. And I know after your Hall of Fame speech, I know you can stick to the shot clock. That's the one thing I know.
I did. And fortunately, it was, I was mindful because Doug Collins, needless to say, he had a lot to say. So following him, I felt pretty comfortable that I could do the under, right, not the over.
Yeah. Who was the coach you really got your back up to coach against, Bo? Who was it? You're like, okay.
I made sure I never treated any particular coach in any way that the players would know that it meant anything more to me. Because
Really?
I didn't. I just, no matter.
Now, Coach, we did run a little bit more against a couple of coaches, though. I mean, maybe there were bad practices on our end. That's what it was.
Who do you think, based on the vibe, Bo really wanted to beat on any given
I'm pleading
night?
the fifth on that one, Coach.
I'm
not. No, this is coaches that we're doing. I'm going to let Coach
Does it
finish
rhyme
the
with
answer.
Schmizzo? I'm just asking.
Well,
No, the reason it did is they had great teams.
Of course, I know they're great teams. Yeah.
Well, they tell me I'm the only coach that had a winning record against Izzo.
Wow. What is that? What is that record?
Somebody told me.
Somebody told you. Okay, we'll find it.
I'm not sure, but I think it was like maybe 4 games more that the Badgers won. Not me. I didn't win them. But that our teams beat their teams, and that's out of respect, because obviously his program and his record speaks for itself.
Yeah.
But Coach, you also knew you needed to get that was the team that we needed to beat. You knew they were going to compete, and for us to be where we wanted to be and win Big Ten championships, we had to beat Michigan State at that time.
Well, that's the same thing when I went to Platteville. We had to beat Whitewater and Stevens Point and Eau Claire. I mean, those were the 3 teams that were dominating that conference. So, I mean, if you're going to take a job as a coach, you need to, put the right target out there, and you got to prepare in the off season and everything else. You got to make sure you're getting ready to beat the best.
Yeah.
If you want to be the best.
You started 10-3 against Izzo. but then he started getting the better of it. But you finished 16-12 against Izzo, according to the internet, and your career win percentage in the Big Ten was better than Izzo's. You were 717 winning percentage in league. Izzo 673. Not too shabby.
Well, it was fun.
That's right.
But when you say that, and it obviously means that we competed, the players were competing for the championship every year. There's very few of those seasons that I can remember where with a few weeks left that we didn't at least have a chance. And in 4 of them, we did win the regular season. And the others, we never finished below 4th. So that was something that I know our guys took pride in. In my press conference, I was asked by a reporter, well, what do you think? How do you think you're going to do? What's your goals? I said, well, if you finish in the top half of the Big Ten, you're going to be playing postseason basketball. So I said in the press conference before we ever stepped a foot on the floor, was that we would finish in the top half, at least in the top half every year.
Yeah.
And fortunately, we did that.
Yeah. How would you, if you were coaching today, how would you handle the fact that the league now has all these weird teams from the remnants of the Pac-12? Would that be a lot different, or is it just another quality team that you're focused on winning?
Well, yeah, they're quality teams. They always have players and good coaches and
right,
well-respected programs. But the travel, I think, I just having been on some of these trips, non-conference where you travel a far distance, you got to remember all these leagues that started were all kind of in the same geographical area.
Right.
As far as the contiguous United States. And, there's going to be some issues, I'm sure, during the winter of a plane being late or not getting in on time, where games are delayed. I'm not trying to wish it on anybody, but I just think that travel is going to have an effect. But the trainers, our trainers at Wisconsin, our trainer Henry would always get everybody on the time zone of the school where we're playing, so that you go dark when it should be dark, and if there's a couple-hour difference. And he always made sure all the players were hydrated. Right, Brian? You remember?
Absolutely. No, Henry was great with that. And that's what we did. We would start that process, 3-4 days. As soon as our last game, we would start that process. Coach, the question I've got for you with the Pac-12 teams, would your golf clubs have made the plane? That's all. You would have been there for 5 or 6 days. Would you have slid the golf clubs in so you could get around it?
No, I didn't play. I never played until the season was over, really. I didn't even out in Hawaii when we went to Maui, and Andy had asked me if I wanted to go play, and I was like, nah, I just didn't feel comfortable because there was always another film to watch.
Yeah, too locked in. Plus, we in the media would have killed a coach when we found out he was golfing. Like, well, Bo and the Badgers got run out of the gym in Maui.
Well, that never happened under Bo. They didn't get run out of the gym.
No, they did not.
There wasn't
he
a
wasn't
bad
golfing.
loss.
Because he wasn't golfing, which you would be if you were a coach.
I would be, absolutely.
That's right. Bo, have a great night tonight. Always a pleasure chatting with you, and congratulations.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And Brian, you'll be there at the game, right?
I will be there. We'll see you tonight. Can't wait to catch up, Coach.
Okay. All right.
Congratulations.
Thanks,
hey, give Butchie a lap since you're still legally allowed to do that as coach.
I don't need 16.
Take a lap.
I don't need.
Take a lap.
I don't need it.
All right, Bo. Thanks.
I'd be diving, Coach.
Bo Ryan, head coach of your Wisconsin Badger teams for quite a while. Some great, great memories. Salute to the team tonight as well from 2015 that came so close. He doesn't think about any one call or two or 12 or 50 in a single game, but Badger fans do. I can assure you of that. Hour 3 coming up. We'll talk Bears, Packers. Wayne Larrivee is next. You're listening to The Game. Hell yeah, let's get another one of those on Sunday. Packers 24-22 win over the Texans. Wayne's call of Josh Jacobs' touchdown catch, first of his career. As we welcome on Wayne, he is brought to us every week by Steam Fitters, Local 601. Learn more by visiting steam601.org, and by the National Fire Sprinklers Association. Visit them at nfsa.org. Wayne, good morning, my friend. How are you?
Good morning, Czabe. Good to be with you guys.
This will be Bear Packer game number what for you, counting both sides of this rivalry?
I don't know. I'd have to do the math on that.
You don't keep track of that. Okay. All right.
Every
We'll
game
do
since
that for you.
1985.
So 85 would be the year.
That was
we got
the
to
first
account
year,
for we got to account for a couple of playoff games along the way
Just
as well.
one.
Just
One
one,
playoff
right?
game. Yep.
One. That's
2011
right.
NFC Championship game.
Isn't that a shame that the oldest rivalry in the league, only has one postseason game? That's wild.
Well, technically Tuesday, because they had one in Chicago at Wrigley Field I want to say, as far back maybe as the 40s, something like that.
It was a wartime game. During World War II.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So it goes way back there. All right. Well, here we are again.
59 games. Is that right? Does that sound about right?
59 games?
Oh, no, it's more than that.
Way more than that, Butchie.
Yeah.
Quick math. Not good at math.
What
trying
did you do?
He's not a math major.
5, 10. I'm trying to do it in my head.
Why
here.
did you take that shot? That was not an open shot. What are you doing?
It's a quick shot in my head.
Whoa.
Yeah.
He just thought
There's never a shot I didn't like.
Never a
Butchie-
shot you didn't like
What
it.
are you talking about?
Butchie, when it comes to math, take the check down, okay? Just take the check down. We'll get
20.
what we can.
Well, there's 20 years. You play twice a year. Go ahead.
It's not 20 years. It's more
No,
than
it's more
20
like-
years.
What is it? All right,
All right,
26.
I'm off
How
by
many
I'm
years-
off by
how
10.
many
I'm off by
years-
10. I'm off by 20. It's going to be 79.
How many
76.
years on each side of the fence, Wayne?
Yeah, 14 in Chicago, and this is going on 26 with the Packers. So
30. Yeah, 14
Yeah.
and 26.
Yeah.
40. Sorry.
40.
Math is not my strong suit either. 40 years.
we need to get a
Come
math
on.
guy on this team. You know what I mean? We need to get one on this.
The 81, right?
Yeah, 80. What are you talking about?
and plus
81?
the one
Yeah, we're
playoff
just-
game.
We're just
Yeah.
throwing numbers out right now.
81. There we go. I got it. I missed a decade.
We
there.
got a pot of fresh rigatoni and we're throwing
All
these
right,
noodles
Packers.
against the
There you
wall.
go.
Just-
All right.
Okay, so that said, here we are. The game is one of these games that makes you say there's no reason the Packers shouldn't win and shouldn't win easily. They not only own them in the series, Bears had a week of turmoil, second guessing, internal strife, etc. Caleb Williams, as a rookie, is now in this funk where he doesn't feel confident doing what he's doing. Packers are totally healthy from what I see on the injury report, Wayne. But then again, it's the NFL, and the NFL is a mysterious beast. Why do a lot of people have this feeling of don't get cocky?
Because it's amazing in this rivalry how when there's a decided underdog, it seems like the game is always close. Either the Packers or Bears kind of rise up and make it a close ball game when you expect it to be a blowout one way or the other. The thing about the Bears that scares me about this game is they have a lot of talent, a lot of offensive talent. And if they can just start to get the rookie quarterback to take the quick shots, get him into a rhythm, get his confidence going a little bit, take some of the pressure off an offensive line that has really struggled to protect the quarterback, and they are getting their two starting tackles back this week, they can be a problem. They have talent. This is not one of those Bears teams like the Wanstead years where they have no chance whatsoever.
Yeah.
This is a team that has talent. And defensively, I think that's where the Packers have to make some hay against this team. But again, it's still a good defense. It's just not as good a defense as it was at the end of last year when they were holding teams to 86 rushing yards a game.
Can the Packers stop the Bears running game if they're truly committed to it and they're in the game so they don't have to pass?
I think they can, yes. DeAndre Swift's a fine back. Don't get me wrong. He's one of the better backs in the league, but he's not a David Montgomery. He doesn't present the challenge that Gibbs presents on this, with the Lions, just to name the last two we saw.
Mm-hmm.
And so, he's a very good running back. But I also think, there's been so much attention on the sacks given up by the Bears. They don't open many holes for the runners either. So they've got issues on that offensive line, and they knew it going into the season. What they have is great skill people on the perimeter of this offense. And if they can protect Williams a little bit, get his confidence going, get him into a rhythm, then the Packers have a real bear on their hands.
Wayne, with this team and the Packers, the only way they lose is if they turn the ball over. Is that a fair statement, or is there a lot more to digest there?
I'd say there's a little more to digest there. I mean, that's a good place to start. Don't turn the ball over, and you got a chance to really. You should be better than this team overall. But turnovers kind of swing the field a little bit, and it's a big problem for the Packers. They've got 2 pick sixes this season. The turnovers have been a bit of a problem, not a terrible problem, but a bit of a problem, coupled with drop passes and pre-snap penalties especially have put themselves in a hole more often than not. And those are the 3 areas they need to clean up to win in this game in Chicago. Because I think the Bears, with all the turmoil they've had, this is when teams dig down and they get in. You know how it is, Butch. You've been on it.
Yeah, no, it's why it scares me. I think
it's us against them, and nobody's going to stop us, kind of thing.
I think this is a single score game. I really do, and I think it's close. And and that's what scares me, because when you put yourself in that kind of game, anything can happen.
Yes, I've seen worse Bears teams beat the Packers and against better Packers teams than this one. I've seen it happen. So we'll see. But I agree with you guys. The caution is, hey. Everybody's thinking they're going to blow out the Bears. Maybe not. Just have a little more respect for the rivalry and the way they're going to play it, because this is a focal game in their season every year, and that starts with Mrs. Hallis, and that starts with her, and it filters all the way down to the football team. If Matt Eberflus is going to save his job, he's got to win this game.
Yeah.
Did Mrs. H ever come to you as the play-by-play guy and have any thoughts about anything you said or did on the air?
No, not at all. But we always had a cordial relationship.
Was she a nice lady?
Oh, wonderful lady. Her husband, Ed, the late Ed McCaskey, was just a wonderful guy. The kind of guy you'd want to go to an Irish bar and sing along with. He was that kind of a guy. Wonderful guy. That's it. McCaskies are a great family, in my opinion. And they were just wonderful to me. And they've just, their football team just hasn't been able to perform over the years the way they had hoped. And, they thought they had it turned around this year, but this has been a tough season with the rookie quarterback and all the changes they've had up front.
I think it's tough for sometimes these legacy families that are still in the NFL business, like the McCaskies, like the Maras.
And the Rooneys.
It's hard, right? It's hard for them to turn over this precious thing that's been in the family. It's an incredible thing, which is also a gold mine, NFL team, to football people to do things that feel wrong in the moment, but are actually the right way to handle things, And it's that balancing act. The Steelers have figured it out, but the Giants are kind of in the weeds right now, and the Bears are certainly in the weeds.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that there's a lot of talk that Kevin Warren, the new president of the team, is getting involved with the football operation. I don't know if that's true or not. It probably isn't. But you can do what Bob Harlan did with the Packers in 1990 or whenever it was when Holmgren came in 92, and just say, okay, we're going to turn this over to the football people now. There's no interference from any kind of committees. And by the way, the people, we're going to separate the building. We're going to have business side on one, football on the other side. And the goal of the business side is to provide the football side with all the resources financially they need to win. And I think a lot of organizations try to do that. But the big key, Czabe, is who are you turning it over to? You know what I mean? And that's
right.
You got to make the right choice, the right football people to turn it over to.
And you got to know when it's not working to change course. And that's also tricky as well. And the Bears have changed course quite a bit along the way here with coach and quarterback and coach and quarterback, and they're not synced up where they're doing it staggered. They have new coach come in to inherit an old quarterback, and it's been 3 cycles in a row now. could be 4 if this one doesn't work out. So they're holding on for dear life. If Jair plays, will he travel with DJ Moore? Does he get the rookie Adunze? What do you think they'll do with him?
Boy, that's a really good question. I was at practice the other day. This is Wednesday, and I didn't see Jair really. He was covering people, but I didn't notice that he was going to jump from one side to the other and follow anybody in particular.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think Half will play it pretty much straight up and see how it goes from there, if in fact Jair is able to play this week.
Okay. How many touches do you think the rookie Marshawn Lloyd might get in the backfield?
If he gets into the game, I think he'll get somewhere between 5 and 10 touches. I think
if he gets in the game, he might not even be up, right?
Do you think he gets in the game?
Well, if they activate him, that's my only question. Will they activate him this week? Will they wait another week? It sounds like they're going to activate him this week. He's looked pretty good in practice, that kind of thing. It looks like he's ready, but they may wait another week. And again, the intrigue for us watching this thing is, who do they sit down? Because they've got some backs they like there, and Emmanuel Wilson, and so it'll be interesting to see.
All right, can they get to the quarterback? Can they get to Caleb Williams without having to blitz much? This offensive line for the Bears has been a disaster. They should be able to eat. I mean, 9 sacks last week. Many of them were on, Caleb for holding the ball too long. But I'm worried if they don't have a day where they can eat with regular pressure or light blitzing, that is a bigger problem for the Packers.
Well, the last offensive line that was really struggling the Packers faced was down in Tennessee. They had I think 8 sacks in that game, and I think Green Bay has 24 sacks overall this season, something in that neighborhood. And that was so they were able to 22 sacks. So they were able to take advantage of an offensive line that day. I think they can do the same to this offensive line here in Chicago, even if the tackles are back, because I will say this: they're much better with their 2 starting offensive tackles. Who isn't? But this is not a great offensive line in terms of pass blocking anyway.
Where are we at with Luke Musgrave right now? Luke, I'm your father.
Boy, that's something, and I've asked a couple of people about that, guys. Nobody seems to know, and nothing seems to be imminent.
They were targeting this week as a possible return. I mean, it's not like we're saying, Tucker Kraft is blown up in his stead, but I wouldn't mind having another guy.
Yeah, exactly. From what I haven't seen anything that would lead me to believe that Musgrave is going to play this week. I'm hoping he's back before the end of the month, maybe, but I haven't seen him this week.
All right. Anything else for the game on Sunday? The weather is supposed to be just fine, cloudy and 50-ish, no rain.
That's
no
pretty good.
Significant wind, no fog.
No significant wind, no fog. We're not going to have a fog ball?
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
That's only for Halloween nights.
No rain like Halloween night. That was coming down sideways, and it was almost sleet. It was so cold that night. And that's the night they retired the numbers of Gale Sayers and Dick Butkus.
Yeah, about it.
And never forget that.
Dumb question. Well, not a dumb. They obviously fly. They fly down to O'Hare, right, and bus on in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, Wayne, you have safe travels. Call a great game. We'll look forward to hearing you and Rock and Kuhn call the game right here on 97.3 The Game and the network of the Green Bay Packers throughout the state, and we'll sync it up with the television.
Okay, guys. Thank you much.
Right.
We'll talk to you Monday.
There you go.